What's up, everybody? This is your boy Chaufie. I'm out here doing another special episode of Cadillac on Mars. Super hyped today. It's been a long time since I've tapped in with the Bruiser Brigade, and I got the homie Fat Ray with me today. What's up, Fat Ray? How you doing?
What's going on, fam?
Yeah, I'm just enjoying the summer right now. How are things feeling out in Michigan?
Oh man, it's hot, man, and it's good though. It's good. I like it. I like hoodie weather, but it's good, man.
I mean, these California kids out here. I just picked up my son from school a little bit ago, and they're all in fucking jeans and fat ass hoodies. And I'm like, it's summertime. What are you guys doing?
That's how. You said summertime. What y'all doing? Yeah, that's the look. That's the look, man. That's the look I like, man. Jeans.
I mean, it's a nice look, but not in the summer. You'd be all musty.
Oh, not in the summer, not at all.
But then again, by California standards, it's only like 77 right now, so it ain't too bad.
Whatever you want to do, bro. Either way, you can bring the cushion.
But yeah, man, I know it's been a long time. I've been wanting to have you on for a bit, just life-wise and work-wise. It's been like kind of nuts. But as I've been kind of going through the whole crew, man, number one, I know it's been a minute since Santa Barbara's been out, but that album is fucking timeless, man. Listening to it to the day it came out to even today, it's not dated, man. It's beautiful.
Thank you, man. I'm glad you said that about it not being dated, because I feel like I create from a place where, artistically the time doesn't matter. I listen to a lot of my old stuff and I'd be like, wow, nobody would have even knew whether it came out yesterday or not unless I said something.
Exactly.
I kind of try to tailor my style into that way to where if you like me, it's because it's something there that you maybe can't put your finger right on what it is, but you remember most of the things that I'm saying you can reference in some kind of way. And then once you get in that pattern of doing that, then you see the main scheme of things, like, oh, okay, he set it up this way. He's a theologian of some sorts.
Yeah. I mean, and let's talk about that too. Okay, so I'm familiar with your Lunchroom album, your Perseus album, Santa Barbara, and something that I found personally genuinely impressive is each one of those albums is distinctly different. I feel the Lunchroom album's got a little bit of a Southern Houston vibe to it, the Perseus album's got a little bit of a New York vibe to it. They're all distinctly different. But what I found, like I said, most impressive about you is that you own the beat. You own the sound, where it's not the other. Sometimes you hear people and you just be like, oh, they're trying to be this wave. They're trying to be that wave. Whereas with you, you were just like, shit, give it to me. I'm going to make this a Fat Ray album, through and through. How did you develop that?
Well, what happened is early on, it came through producers really trying to find a sound, because I never really produce records, but I always gravitate towards good producers for some reason. Yeah. I've had from my experience with Black Milk and Jay Dilla to, other producers, the Nick Speeds and the underground guys who have been sustaining for a long time, the Apollo Browns, and I enjoy hearing new producers who can make beats. So if you go on my resume in the past, you'll find a lot of producers there who really made a name for themselves underground first.
Yeah.
So Chris Phantoms and guys like that. I always found my thing working with new producers from Detroit that were trying to push the sound pretty much. So yeah, it was just us trying to find our particular sound during that time. It's just a collection of basically different producers who were fishing for a sound, and me being an artist who was, versatile enough to, put a picture to the soundtrack per se,
Yeah. And I think that's a good point right there. It's putting a picture to the soundtrack, because it's you develop a really good narrative. Like you put that visual together, even though it's all audio, like I can see it in my head, where it's like, oh, this shit is a party right here. This shit is like the backyard barbecue. This is like cruising in the whip. This is like chilling on the sofa. You know what I mean? Like it's all different styles. It's not just one, but like I said, it's all very distinctly you. Like your rhyme pattern, your lyrical structure, like all that stuff is just like, it's almost like you're making the beat compromise to you as opposed to you compromising to the beat, and I think that's a really cool thing.
I thank the Most High for that ability too, because a lot of times people have trouble expressing themselves. Like I never really had that problem, so It's like, what message do I want to convey at this point is like the question. You know what I mean? Or do I want you to enjoy my own thoughts? So basically, that's what it is. It's just been a fight for me to convey my own thoughts without being what you would call influenced in any kind of way by you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything that was outside of thorough,
yeah,
outside of thoroughbred hip hop, rep culture only.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I fully get what you're saying, because it's like you'll have some artists that over time you can kind of tell like I compromise my sound because this is where I'm trying to get a Pepsi endorsement. You know what I mean? like,
exactly.
And it's like, oh, it's not the same anymore.
That's the thing about me. Like me, I had to take a back seat because I took the gimmick out of my flow.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times artists they use their gimmicks to push them forward in their career. And when you do that, you bound by those same gimmicks.
Yeah.
So it's like me understanding early that being a good artist and me conveying my own feelings in the way that I want them to be would see me through is pretty much the guiding light in everything for me. It allows me to be the real Fat Wreck.
Yes.
Because I don't have to rely on any gimmicks or anything to see me through. People who love me as an artist, they love me because they know I can really rap.
Yes.
And that's what, is a breath of fresh air for not only my fans, but for myself. And that's why they know that they're guaranteed pretty much with me to get what they want musically, because I'm not going to stop being that way. You know what I mean?
And I think that's what I find most admirable about just the whole collective, the whole Bruiser Brigade, is like, you can tell it's not, like you said, like compromised. It's just like everyone has their voice, not trying to step on each other. Just like you got JUS who sounds his way, you got Ahmad God who sounds his way, you got you who sound your way, you got Bruiser Wolf who definitely sounds his way. You know what I mean? But it's like it's one of those things. I think it weeds out the sort of bandwagon people, where it's just like, oh yeah, just like the song because it's hot on the radio right now, where it's just like, nah, this is hot because the fucking lyrics are ill, the production is nice, the beats clean. You know what I mean? Like it's all those elements where it's just like, yeah, I could soak this up.
And that's the thing, like a lot of people who gravitated towards the Bruiser Brigade thing did it strictly off the music because they didn't know my standing in the Detroit hip hop community or probably care. You know what I mean? But the music, like I mentioned, will always see you through if you can get it in the hands of the right people and it's the right product. So that's really the thing about what we did. It's completely organic because we weren't relying on anything other than us and the music to make it work. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah, it's like this is no shot on like Big Sean, but it's like I don't hear you guys writing on his like radio coattails. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, this is us, this is our thing here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And that's I came up with Sean. You know what I mean? A lot of my life I've been able to access Sean, you know, and we've talked and we've been in, you know, and he's a phenomenal young man. He's been a phenomenal young man for a long time. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
no, I definitely fuck with this shit for sure.
You know, I'm not shocked in any type of way about where his career has taken him because he's always been a phenomenal young man. All my friends are great in some kind of way.
Yeah.
So I cross a lot of the greats.
And you know what? I still got to give him a big shout out too, because he still has love for his city.
100%.
You know, each of his albums is always like, and here's some Detroit shit, you know?
Oh, 100%. And I feel like all of us that have been really touched by this city will forever be that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
We all got that in common.
Now you kind of brought something up that was like one of the questions I was like thinking about, because so I learned about you in reverse. You know, I heard the Santa Barbara album, and then I was like, one, to me, just off top listening to it, I was like, okay, this might be the senior of the crew, in the sense that like I got the impression you had like a history, a depth, and an experience. Like you said, like what was your role in your relationship in like the Detroit hip hop community? And then I realized you had like more albums and more singles, and I was like, oh, this dude's been around. Like he's got some shit under his belt. How did you sort of get into that? Like, I guess to even take it to the way back, when does Fat Ray go like, shit, I'm about this hip hop life? Like, how did that kick off?
As a kid, my dad was a studio engineer, and I had a studio in the basement of my home growing up.
Shit, that's awesome.
So I've always been able to listen to music and do different things with music, even though engineering started out as what it was that I wanted to do. But I brought my passion for engineering because through the process of making songs, you know what I mean? I found passion more in making songs and just seeing other people's reaction to music that I liked. So it's always just been music has always been in my life. My first experiences outside of the home with music was probably the hip hop shop era. I was frequent at the second hip hop shop, not the Maurice Malone one, but the second one that came right after that. It was down the street from my house. Hustle Simmons ran that one, and he's a hip hop guy too, a deep in the streets hip hop guy.
Okay.
So yeah, my first interactions with hip hop was the hip hop shop, actually.
Yeah, you see, that's awesome when you have like the opportunities to like, in a sense, get in like on a ground floor, or even have like access to, because it's like some of the stories I share with my son about like my sort of being on the periphery of like music and shit like that is just like, one, like just be cool, people, because you never know who is going to be the hookup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then with that as well, it's like seek those opportunities. Like, you know, if you have access to a studio, fucking take it. You know, like you got access to someone who can make videos, run with them. You know, like, because you never know what it's going to turn into. Or like hearing you say, yeah, you know, the creation of the music was the first passion, and then it just turned into something else. It's like, yeah, be versatile, like try different things, because you never know what's going to be the one that's like, I really thought it was going to be this, but it turned into that. You know, it could have been the opposite or reverse direction, you know?
Yeah, and then also what played a major part in just making songs, the church, of course. Being in church, being in the choir as a kid, seeing, you know, how different pieces in the songs are supposed to go, where the sopranos and the tenors go in the record.
Yeah. And that's a true thing. Like, I think it's really about like being worldly about music. Like I give a lot of my music appreciation to like to my parents, you know, like for my dad, he was very much like, yeah, he played like the, you know, mariachi music, ranchero music, but he was also heavy into like, you know, that early 70s, late 60s, like Doors, Zeppelin, Santana type of shit. So it was a variety in my house. And then on my mom's end, she was heavy, like um, you know, Motown sound, Smokey Robinson, Betty Wright type of shit. And then even like the lowrider oldies, so it was like all that encompassing. But what I found myself doing as a kid, and this kind of goes with what you're saying, is like I didn't just listen to like the song. It was like today I'm just listening to drums. Tomorrow
Exactly.
I'm just listening to horns. Or I'm listening to like, wait, that's not Prince's vocals. That's someone else's vocals in the under, like kind of segmenting it into my head. I didn't go into a musical path, but it's still part of like my core.
Exactly. I know exactly what you mean. Like my dad, he was that guy for me. He was the one who always had the references for me. You know what I mean? Hey, Dad, I need a bass line. Where do I go? You know, he'd always have the answers. And
Yeah.
then I like to play drums as a kid, so he put me hip to a lot of good drummers, John Luke Ponte, and you know what I mean? Different percussionists, Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know what I mean? I grew up in a musical home, so
Yeah.
you
And
know.
that's such a beautiful thing because it's like, I don't know, like to be able to put someone on to music and have that like influence their life, it's like you've changed someone's DNA. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah,
you've altered their perception on something. It's like, and that's like really, really awesome. Like when my son hit me up and was like, hey, I want to work on something. I told him, I said, number one, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I was like, but I'm gonna see what I can do. But as we sat there, it was the learning experience. It was just like I tell people, we're not the ones that are going to be out in front throwing the football. But if you want to talk drums, we could do that. You want to talk different styles, we could do that. Like I've very much for a very long time been a huge fan of the Detroit sound. And then so my son and I are going back and forth because he's a very huge Chicago drill guy. And so then he's like, but this
yeah,
and like that and this and that. I'm just like, you know,
yeah,
just
yeah.
listen to it, break it down. Like I played some he got real hip recently to Z, got hip to the loopers, where he was like, this is kind of crazy. And I was like, yeah, that dude is like walking art. Like
Wow. Yeah, well, he's the wild card for sure.
yeah, he definitely is. But so
hmm
it's to be, like I said, to be able to bestow that knowledge on someone, and to know that you had someone in your life who did that too is like, that's some rad shit. And especially father to son relationship, that's huge.
And that's what I mean, like about me as an artist, like why it's so cool to be the real Fat Ray is, you know what I mean? Like Zaloopers is my little brother, Big Sean is, you know what I mean? Trick and, Bruiser Wolf is my best friend. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like my life is crazy. Jay Dilla's my big bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Proof, me and Proof had so many intimate moments together, and is my life has been crafted by the people that I love. So it's like I get the opportunity to really have fun being myself. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So that's really what it is at the end of the day, is that I'm in a good space when I record. So
Yeah. And then
like
to have that, like you mentioned too, like the access and all the names that you've mentioned, it's like, one, it sounds like you genuinely are appreciative of the relationships you have. You have value in them. And then it sounds like too, just like knowing like it's not an everyday thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you mentioned, like, oh, yeah, it's like Big Sean, Trick. Like you got all these different people where it's like there's usually one person because their cousin's sister dated so and so. You know what I mean?
and then all these paths and all these different people lead back down to me and Danny Brown, bro. So it's
Mhm.
like Danny is my, you know what I mean? Danny is my guardian angel of some nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Since me and Danny have met each other, my life has changed for the better.
So how did you get there? Let's talk about that. Like, what was your sort of first connection with Danny Brown, and then how did that develop into you like becoming like part of the Bruiser Brigade?
Danny Brown is he's one of those rare gems that you get in people. You know what I mean? It's like me being the person that I am, like I mentioned, I get to meet a lot of special people. For some reason, my steps have been ordered in a lot of special people's direction. So when nobody else knew Danny, me and Danny, our first interaction was at a show. One of the homies in the crew, BMO, he brought Danny to a show that I was performing at.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just in the show kicking it, at a showcase, a Detroit showcase. I think it was Alvin's.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Razzcast was in the building.
Damn.
Hex Murder was there, and a bunch of other, Detroit cats. And that's where me and Danny first got wind of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Later, we met again performing on Elzai's Preface album. Me and Danny, Hex put us together on a record on Elzai's project, and the record I believe is Fire Remix.
I'm writing that down right now.
Yep, the Fire Remix from Elzai's Preface album is the first time me and Danny actually appeared on record together.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy how that whole studio session and everything went, because Trick was in the studio with us. Hex Murder was there, and it was just a funny session. But we get that later. Yeah, but that's where me and Danny first initially met. Through a couple years passing, I got an invitation to come and meet with Danny and BMO.
Mm-hmm.
And BMO asked me if I would be a member of the crew.
You got like a legit formal, like, let's make this happen.
Yeah, like we stood outside of Drummer B's crib. He said, Ray, I acknowledge who you are in Detroit hip hop. I have nothing but respect for you. We want to bring you in the crew because we feel you haven't got your just dues. We feel you haven't got your proper, flowers. You haven't flowers, and we don't know why, but we want to be involved in the next step in your process of getting recognition and just, seeing you be great.
Yeah.
And I had been through a lot of different stuff in the industry, a lot of different people. And like I mentioned, my steps is ordered. That conversation that we had that day stood out to me in a genuine way, to where I knew anybody who was rooting on Danny Brown's behalf that hard with that much faith had to know something. You feel me?
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's such a game recognized game moment. You know what I mean? Like, and then to be like, we're going to have a conversation, not let my manager call your manager.
Exactly.
It was just like, no, face to face. Like, I got respect for you. Let's make this happen. Like, how can you not love that?
Exactly. So yeah, it was an informal meeting that got me in the Bruiser Brigade.
Mm-hmm.
But once I joined the crew and we started to build our brotherhood, it's been no turning back. Like, we've been together ever since.
Yeah.
Now for us to just it was because of the way the crew was set up, it was always dope MCs within the crew. We just couldn't get to a place where the music was in front of everything else that we had, all of the responsibilities of the crew. Being Danny was the priority, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to take care of your priorities first before you can do anything else.
Yeah.
So, that's really what it is. And just knowing how to play your role as a teammate, you know what I mean? So
sometimes things need to like a good stew. They just need to simmer for a bit, because in the end, that's when it gets real delicious.
It has to make sense. You got to have the whole equation before you can get the answers.
Yeah.
So if a piece of the equation is missing, you can't move forward until you can 1 + 1 = 2. You got to have the whole equation. You got to have me and you and everybody else working in unison to equal success.
Yeah. Because listening to like going back to what was that, like 2021 when the album started dropping, it was like it was almost like uncovering a map because each album featured members of the crew and then their album dropped. And it was almost like in the end, it was like a pullback where it was like, oh fuck, you guys threw out the timeline from the get-go. It's almost like seeing the season finale of a show where it was like, fuck, all the Easter eggs were here. I just didn't see it until it was like all said and done. And so once all these albums started dropping, where it was like going back to Bruiser Wolf, I think it was on your album, I heard him and I was just like, who the fuck is this? And all I could find was Dog Food. And I was like, this shit is ill. And then it was just like, oh wait, who's JUS? Who's Ahmad the God? It was just like so on and so forth. You get this like, and like I mentioned earlier, like I love music. So then I was like, Google, find more, like look into. I think I messaged like Skylar where I was like, hey, come on, man. Like, who the fuck is this? Where do I get more music? You know what I mean? And so it's like, but it's like you're saying, it's just like, just wait a minute, just hold on, just it's gonna come, just relax. I'm not gonna give you all 4 seasons right now. It's gotta come in pieces.
See, and that's the thing about me. I have hidden gems all over the internet, and my fans who are aware of that, they fucking freak out about that all the time. Like, bro, I just got through listening to this. Or they come up to me and say the weirdest record that they've been listening to. I'm not going to say the names because I don't reveal, that's the thing about me. Like, if you know something about me, that's yours. You know it. And, that's our thing. You know what I mean? So I have a connection with most of my fans because they all have something specific that they like me for, or something specific that I've said, or something that
and it's something personal to be able to uncover those gems. Like as I started doing my searches where I was like, Fat Ray, who is he? And then it was just like, oh, this dude's been around. This is not album number 1. There's more to this. There's further. So it was like on my end, I'm like, shit, now I'm realizing I got like a smooth 5 hours worth of content. You know what I mean? Like, where it's like, oh, it's not one 45-minute album.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. And then it's like, I got so much unreleased material as well. Everything just has to have its proper place. And that's the thing. Like, once my fans get in the multitude to where they can understand it, once I give them what I have to give, then it'll all make sense. That's how I could say that.
Yeah.
Now it's really us just genuinely just genuinely giving the jewelry, giving jewelry. It's like Dior releasing their new, I'm just giving them the jewelry. But when they get the meat and potatoes, though, we skip right past the meat and potatoes to give you the jewelry. So it's like, I got the jewelry still, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Diamonds,
you just sprinkle in them gems, but yeah, hit me with the meat and potatoes. Give me something I'm gonna get full off of that, because I'm gonna hear it. I'm gonna consume it over and over and over.
Now, for me, music right now is just a fight to hear something unique, a fight to hear creativity that will spark anything. We need more ideas. We need more creative. We need more conscious thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's a real truth, because like when someone asks me like, oh, what are you listening to right now? What's your favorite song type of thing? I'm like, I guarantee you haven't heard it, because not that I hate the radio. Like, I'm not slamming radio. I'm just saying, like, I don't listen to it. The only time I ever listen to it is when I'm in my wife's car, but it's like, if it's me in my car, I'm like, okay, this, like you guys, like this artist led to that artist, or this genre led to that genre. And so it's just like uncovering things all the time. And so it's like finding something that's unique, finding something that is authentic is really, really hard. Because I feel a lot of like, and this kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier, when you're stuck in a voice and you're stuck in a style that's for the masses, you can't break it. And I feel a lot of music right now that's coming out for the masses is like, I've now contextualized it as like TikTok music. It's like it's so they can put a dance to it, so they can like do a thing to it, and it's like,
well, say because it's existed all throughout hip hop. It's just not is what we categorize to categorize it. It's just novelty.
yes,
When you become a novel and you get what it is to get for that, that's what you are. That's what the public's job is to do, is to perceive you as who you are. So
yes.
if you give them something and they perceive you as that, that's your perception. Mm-hmm. So that's what I said before in the beginning. It's like every time you see MC Hammer, you want to see the baggy pants and the shiny shoes and the isometric haircut. With the
yes, man, that was the time.
And the big glasses, right? You don't want to see MC Hammer come out with dreads. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, let's talk about that. You remember back in the day? I don't want to date you. I don't know how old you are, but I'm gonna put out my date. I'm 46, man. And let me put it this way: when Hammer came out with his gangster rap album, we were all like, no, like you just finished Hammer Don't Hurt Him, and then you're gonna come out with this fucking hard album? No.
Song was called "It's All Good." All cripped up. It's all good. It was.
But it's like how you said, nah, man. I want the shiny shirt. I need the baggy pants. I need the isometric hair. I need Oaktown 357 in the back dancing.
That's the Hammer that he immortalized as that MC Hammer. The Hammer with the bowling alley in the basement. Right.
Exactly. Hammer Don't Hurt Him. Come on, man. And then he came back and wanted to hurt him. No.
You can't never hurt him. You can never
Zero. But so I get what you're saying. It's the truth, though. It's like,
yes, that's why a lot of artists, fall out of love with their careers early because they're not allowed to be who they really are.
Yeah. And then once you've sort of fallen off of that throne, or like tumble down that hill of success, you can't climb back.
Yeah, you got to kill that character.
Yeah.
And destroying the ego, destroying that character that you create is very hard to, it's hard to balance the two. It's like Batman or some shit. It's like being a hero. You know what I mean? When do you take it off? When do you not get to be little baby? When do you get, you know what I mean?
Exactly, because the impression I get is that you are Fat Ray all the time, because you're also, like I mentioned before, like you seem very authentic, So I think if I were to catch you on the street and be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" Dap you up, like you're going to communicate with me in the same way as if I saw you also eating in a restaurant or saw you in the studio. Like I think this is genuinely you, not just a persona or an outfit.
Now, why you feel like that is because that's the way I got my name.
Yeah.
Fat Ray was really me. It was me. But when people ask about me, when people speak about me when I'm not around, what happened was somebody will say, "Yeah, I was with my man Ray the other day and we was in the studio. He was going crazy." They said, "Ray who?"
Yeah, like, which Ray?
you know, Fat Ray. And then they was like, "Oh yeah, I know. But man, he crazy."
Yeah.
So they were always talking about me. I was never being nobody else. So Fat Ray is really me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's the person that I've been. You know what I mean? So I'm not selling you nothing.
Yeah, it's like the individual came before the music in a sense. They're like synonymous, because that's like the conversation I had with JUS, where I was like, "What does JUS stand for?" And he goes, "Actually, it's just always been me. Like even before I started doing this, like people just called me that." And so he's like, "That's who I am." And it's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because
I'm the giver. I probably JUS because his name Justin. So everybody JUSE boy, I've been calling it. I've known Jay my whole life.
Yeah.
The significant years of my adolescent years, Jay been right there.
And that's something I find really interesting too, is that it sounds like you guys have always been around each other, because like you talk about Bruiser Wolf says, he said too, he's like Fat Ray's my best dude. He was like, he brought me on. And I was like, what?
Bruiser Wolf, man, he's a gem. He another one of them gems, man.
Yeah.
The Most High spoke to me when I met Bruiser Wolf. He was like, that guy right there, either you can deal with him now or you're going to deal with him later. You know what I mean? You're going to deal with him.
And I'll say this, like, honestly, because I mentioned it to him too. I'm just going to put this out there now. Lock it in your head. I'm putting this out to the universe. The world needs a Fat Ray Bruiser Wolf album together, because the way you two like double dutch off each other, that's amazing. Like when I hear you two together,
the power of the tongue is powerful, and manifestation is real for sure too.
So I'm just saying, if you guys if you title this album Wolf Rays, I ain't mad at it. I'm just saying.
I mean, when we talk in the future, this might be your psychic moment. I don't know. You know,
so I'm putting it out there. I think every one of you guys that I've talked to, I'm like, you better tell these motherfuckers to do a collab album, because that shit will be hot. Like, I would love it. But this conversation genuinely is about you. And I know I'm kind of all over the place with the topics, but it's just like, I want you to know, like, I'm passionate about this. Like, I love the music. I love what you guys are doing. I do want to tap back into Santa Barbara, because like I got into earlier, we were talking about how you guys, your albums are like so distinctly different. Santa Barbara seems to be way more raw. Like, this seems to be just like it's like you took off all the shine, and you were just like, you're getting me like uncovered, clear, uncut. Like, I think Rafi told me when I was talking to him about like my son's working on, I was like, I don't know what to do with his vocals. And he's like, oh, Ray's vocals are raw. He's like, I didn't do shit to them. He's like, we tried, but just raw sounded the best. And I was like, oh, I couldn't see it any other way. How did you go into this album? Like, what was your mindset? What was your approach to just, because I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it just sounds so like you're getting the uncut.
Santa Barbara was that period, man. It was that whole frustrating period of time. I was really using the music as an outlet for the frustration I was having in my daily life with different shit, COVID and all that other shit that was going on. And just, I was just, me and Rafi, the place that we had in the studio was like, it was like my safe haven to rage out, I guess what you would say. Mm-hmm. It was like how you go in the rage room and you get to break shit or whatever that room is, they let you pay and you get to go in that room.
Yeah, which I've seen, that shit is wild.
That's what recording Santa Barbara was like. Like, somebody just gave me the space to just go in and break as much shit as I wanted to until I didn't want to break nothing else.
Yeah.
And then figure something else out. But I felt like I owe the people that never got to see it that, like Dilla, he first spoke on me. Like, I had a lot of people who spoke over me. Like, Fat Ray, you gonna be one of the ones, boy. Like, great people, you know, who I feel like, you know, that I can't let them down. I don't want to let them down. You feel me? I know they were so great of spirits. I know if it's any type of way that they would be with me right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Their soul is a part of your soul.
100%. So it's like, I use that Santa Barbara project as like my gift per se back to, you know, Dilla and Proof and the hip hop community, and just a lot of stuff that had to do with Detroit. If you know, you know, and a lot of stuff that had to do with, you know, getting the Bruiser established for real, and how, you know, we coming.
Where did the title come from?
Santa Barbara is actually the street that Proof lived on.
Ah.
It's his mama's house on that street.
Because I that's something I had wondered about. Like, in my mind, I thought, oh, this must be like a street or a neighborhood in the area. Because, you know, out here on the West Coast, it's a beautiful city. It's my birth city. you know. So I was like, I know Santa Barbara differently. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So everybody got that's the thing about Santa Barbara too. Artistically, everybody who listens to it is gonna do something different with it. It's just their conversation piece. It's gonna become your conversation piece in some kind of way because that's the way it was created. Like I know that nobody knew that Proof's mom lived on Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
You know, and a bunch of host of other artists from Detroit that I met. DJ Dead, Slum Villages DJ stayed on Santa Barbara. Swifty McVeigh from D12, and he was also a member of the Raw Collection at one point, stayed on Santa Barbara. His sister.
See, that's also like fascinating to me because it shows like how music and just a collection of words can be like interpreted in so many different ways, you know, because like I mentioned, like on my end, hearing Santa Barbara conjures up like the beach city, you know what I mean? And it's a very beautiful area. Like I said, like I spent like all my like summers, spring breaks, winters there, stuff like that, because my family was there. But the flip side, and again, where the album fits in is, you know, a lot of my family members were a part of like, you know, like the local East Side gangs out there. So it's like, even though you have this beauty up above and it's like these expensive homes and celebrities and beaches, you can't forget that they're still hood people, you know? And so it's like, unintentionally or intentionally, you created that contrast for me where it was like, I knew the name in one way, but the music fit the environment. Like I was a kid and I was out here like with my uncle who was just a few years older than me, and we were getting wild faded before I should have ever been doing it. You know what I mean? Like I was like out here getting into fights and stealing bikes and shit. Like I was living dangerous, and it was just like that's where this album fits. So it takes me back to that time when I was young. But then it's like, but what's the context in a Detroit setting? Because it's different, you know. So it's that art, man. It's open to interpretation, and instead of just being like, this is the party album, you know.
Paul, you hit it right on the head, and that was my whole homage to Proof, because that's how he was. That's how the whole Dirty Harry thing was. You never knew what he was gonna do. It was all up for your own interpretation. Either you loved him or you hated him. But if you understood him, then you respected him.
Yeah.
And that's all I ever wanted to do. I wanted my music to convey how it conveys to you. Take it and do what you will. I want to know your personal experience with it. Because I only did it because I only said those words for those that I consider to be quality enough to understand what I'm even saying. I know it's everybody. I'm a caviar. I know I'm a caviar artist. All the people who have ever really dealt with me have been artists, other rappers. I've been rapping with rappers my entire time.
Yeah.
I never had a chance to worry about my fans, but now I am.
Yeah, but I think it goes to like the quality of the content too. Like what you're providing allows it to be open, you know, like they're definitely like you can listen to it and understand the narrative. Like for me as a listener, I hear what's being said, and then at the same time I can still sort of take it to different places, because whether it's a couple combinations of words, maybe it's just a bar or two, or maybe it's the whole song, it's like it allows me to tap into my own shit. You know what I mean? And so it's like, this is fucking tight.
And that's what I'm saying. Like what impressed me the most of everything that happened to me, it was like, as soon as I dropped the album, my first review came from the Harvard Crimson. They like,
you're like, what's Harvard got to do with this?
Boom. But my interaction with them and understanding it, when I understood that they were genuine fans of the art, that's when I knew. See, the whole thing, that's what I mean, the technique and the place that I'm writing from. If you can recant my raps, if you can recite me, you something else.
Yeah.
I'm not, It's something else, man. It's like that.
I'm gonna say this. All I can do, I can just be hype man in the back. I don't got all the words down. You got too much content for me. I'll just be the dude who's just like, right? What?
That's what I'm saying. It's like having a Jedi power. Those that get the ability to recite me word for word is else.
But I mean, like I'm saying though, it's like what you really bring to the table is something phenomenal. And then just to kind of, as we start to like wind down a little, just looking at what I've uncovered on my own and learned your styles along the way. It's like I see the evolution, but I see the genuineness, the authenticity, and it's something that I think as the whole community, not just like the hip hop community, but the musical community, I think people should really, really give a listen to Fat Ray's music, because it's got depth, it's got complexity, it's got honesty, it's got sincerity. It's not just one-sided. I mean, this dude is over here rapping with the fucking 20-sided die. You don't know what number is going to pop up, but it's going to be quality, but it's going to change the outcome.
Be something different.
Yeah.
Just praise, just give it a try. That's all I ever wanted, man. I just ever wanted everybody to just taste and see for themselves. And if you don't like it, then that's fine with me too, because it's not for you. I know it's not for everybody. I'm not trying to be for everybody. You know what I mean? Because everybody, like I say, it's not really about where you're from. It's about what you're for. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of people that's from Detroit, but they not for Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm for Detroit. I'm for the music industry, and I'm for music. Yeah. Let me take that. I might not be for the music industry, but I'm for music.
Yeah. And I think when you take the time to grow from within as well, to appreciate what's around you, like what's developing, what's growing, it's like, it's kind of like my own career, like starting off in education. I started off as a teacher and I was like, well, I can affect these 30 kids. And then I said, I'm going to be a coach, like a teacher coach, because then I can work with my grade level or my teachers. Now I can affect 100 kids. And then I was like, now I'm going to go into administration, because now I can affect my school and the schools around me, because I'm growing, I'm cultivating, I'm kind of building it up. So I think it goes along with what you're saying as a parallel. Like when you start growing from within, you get results in a different way. You're like, you've created something.
And vice versa. Like that's the whole thing. I just run resumes. That's all I feel like I don't know what job I've been appointed, but everybody's resume come across my desk for some reason. Your resume came across the desk, clean as a whistle. There's something about the Cadillac on March. Oh, yep.
No, and it's like I got to give a huge shout out to all you guys that I've spoken with. Like
great rapport is everything. That's all it's ever about. Yeah. Like Big Sean, a good friend of mine, but you got to ask them about me for it to be relevant. You understand? And when you know, everything ain't for everybody to talk about, but those who know, it's like Norm. I guess it's like Norm Morpheus or something.
Yeah. But that was and just to give a quick like anecdote, like my son and I went to it was a few months back to the Smokers Club Festival, and I was wearing the Gagoku Jay-Z shirt, right? And so this lady comes up to me and she was just like, I got to take a picture of your shirt. And I was like, sure, yeah. And she's like, this is my friend. And I was like, JUS, your friend? And she was like, yeah. I was like, I just interviewed him. And she's like, it was Bruiser Bliss. And so she was like, oh, you're the podcast guy. And I was like, I ain't shit. I'm just like some dude, you know what I mean? And it blew like kind of my son's mind, where he was like, how? And like I mentioned before, it's like, just be cool with people, like I hope that my authenticity and my appreciation is coming off as genuine, because I really am like appreciative of this. And so I told him, I said, just be cool with people,
Mm-hmm. That make perfect. Like I said, it ain't hard, man. People make things too hard. Yeah. It's so easy. It's so easy to be cool and just be real. It's so easy. People go out of their way, man.
Yeah. And don't be weird. Like, don't be awkward.
100. And that's what I was saying. Like, can you imagine a city full of people like that?
Yeah, it'd be amazing. And that's where I like to see more of. That's where I tell a lot of people, like, don't get stuck in a style, don't get stuck in a time period, because not only the grown folks, but the young folks are doing a lot of good shit out here. Like, listen.
Man, I'm going to tell you the truth, fam. When I first got a record with Jay Dilla, man, I feel like I had arrived. I'm an artist who blessed. I was like doing a record with Jay-Z with me at the time.
Right. It's huge.
It was huge in my life. As soon as we started getting the ball rolling, he passed away.
Yeah.
And he's one of those stories, but not only him, Proof. Proof had just started his record label. Iron Fist was going up and going, but it was a very good friend of mine. We've been through a lot of times, good times together. And then he passes away. When I dropped Santa Barbara, Virgil Abloh texted me, DM me, and told me, bro, amazing job, bro. I love the project. This is Virgil Abloh, bro.
Yeah,
he had no
huge
word to me, bro. Reached out to me on Instagram and told me how much he loved the project. We locked in. He put pieces of Santa Barbara on his mixtape, bro. On his mixtapes that he did, bro.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Bro. And and then he passed away. And that shit, man, it's like these relationships all bring me back to my introduction. Like I mentioned, I'm gonna tell you a story I never told on a podcast before. Big Sean invited me to come to the Majestic Theater. He said, man, come out, enjoy the show. I'm doing the show with Wale, such and such and so. I get there. Sean's doing the show, Wale, Drake. And I get backstage with these guys. And, security protocol going on. Sean, like, Ray, man, I love you, man. Enjoy yourself. I see Drake. I walk up to Drake. I said, what's up, man? My name's Fat Ray. He said, I know who you are.
Damn, what?
I stepped back and looked at him, He said, I know who you are. I said, how you know who I am?
Yeah, because that's my question. Is like, because you think, like, how does he even have time to listen to anybody? You know what I mean?
I said, how you know who I am? He said, Elzon, my favorite rapper. And checkmate.
Damn. There, done.
And checkmated me right there on the spot. And then walked on stage and did his show right after that. And I knew he was going to be the biggest fish in the pond right after that.
But it's like, it's that shit that fills your cup.
He was that on his homework.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like you can't get past me. Once you get the Fat Ray, you at the Guardian level.
You're the general of this. Listen.
Guardian level. You got to get past the gate. After you make it past Fat Ray, you something else.
You know what? And I think that's a good place to put a pin in our conversation today. Remember this. Fat Ray is the Guardian. You need to check in. You get your credentials cleared by this man right here. Man, Ray, I appreciate you sitting with me today. Like, this has been an awesome conversation. I can't wait to hear something new from you. Please tell me we got something coming. Please.
Man, you can feel it all around you. You feel it all in your spirit. You know it's coming.
It's like people check the wind. I got my finger. Which way is the wind blowing? Is it coming?
And I'll guarantee you this time, after this, if it's anything left to say after this, besides blank stares, bro.
Yeah. I'm hoping I listen to it and then I don't say nothing, because I'm just going to be like dumbfounded. Like, this motherfucker, man. Like, that's all I want to be left saying is that.
this, there shall be nothing.
Yes, man. I can't wait. I'm so hyped. I'm super, super hyped, man. And like I've said to all of you guys, I cannot wait for new music. I can't wait for like you guys to start coming out west and doing shows now that like we're starting to hit back and do like some tours and shit like that. Cause once you guys hit out west, it's gonna go off. We're going off.
Man, I just want to say thank you, man, for being who you are, and you know, your ear being available to the fans and you know, the people who deal with you, because you on top of it. You on top of it, bro.
Man, I appreciate it. You know, and it's just my goal is just to like, if I can share my community with yours, because you know, each time I do one of these interviews, I get a few messages along the way that are just like, damn, thanks for putting me on. I didn't know this about this artist. I didn't know about this music. So it's just like, if I can get you a few more listens, I can get you a few more buys and downloads, man. It's sharing the wealth. It's sharing the knowledge, you know, like I'd love to keep it to myself, but it's like, nah, man.
Down the wormhole.
Yeah.
Down the wormhole, bro.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Yeah, you go backtrack down the wormhole. I'll give those. Make sure Santa Barbara, Perseus, setup.
All right.
Okay. Lunchroom. You already listened to the lunchroom. Now, if you go back and listen to the lunchroom, yes, it's a song called Bosses on Deck.
Mm-hmm.
And me and JUS was on it back then.
Yes. Okay, that blew my mind. That when I saw that, I was like, oh, these ones go back. They go back.
Whole nother vibe.
Yes.
Whole nother vibe.
Yeah, because I'm gonna put JUS on blast. He was like, no, I just started this recently when I interviewed him. And then I see that fucking album came out in 2018. Liar. Stop it. Tell him I said that. Just kidding.
Yeah, I got Jay back in his golden days. I snuck one on him. When he ain't want to, they had to rap with me.
But man, again, I appreciate you taking the time today. Like, this has been like a super awesome experience. Tell the people where they can find you. Tell them where they can connect and listen.
Fat Ray and the number 1 on Instagram. Santa Barbara is streaming on all social platforms. If you tap in with me from this interview, I'll give you the jewels to go find some hidden gems.
Oh shit!
I got songs with people that's hidden on the web. And then I got songs with guys who's not unhidden that you just don't know is there. So I give good references to some fresh new music.
I'm telling you, people, do your Googles. You'll find stuff out.
Well, yeah. Tap in with Fat Ray. Give you fresh new music you never heard before. All gems.
Definitely. Well, man, Fat Ray, thank you so much for sitting with me today. I really, really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy day to have this conversation with me. Again, thank you very much to everyone listening. I'm Chaufie. This is Fat Ray. We out of here. Peace.
Bruce.
What you say, Mama?
What?
What you say?
Grandma's not here.